Welcome to JSA TV, where we're covering the latest news and trends and innovations from thought leaders within the digital infrastructure industry. I'm Dean Perrine, EVP at JSA, and we are coming to you live from one of the most beautiful places I've ever been in my life, Honolulu, Hawaii, at PTC 2025. And I am here with Paul Wiltshire. Paul is the VP of Sales at AtlasEdge. Paul, welcome to JSA TV.
Great to be here, Dean. And as you said, beautiful Hawaii is much warmer than it is back in the UK at the moment, where it's freezing.
I'm from Chicago. It's 2 degrees there right now. 2 degrees. That's much better here, right?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. My wife is very jealous.
Yeah, mine is actually in the hotel right now, who is flying back tonight. So she'll be warming up the home for me before I get there. But look, AtlasEdge is at the forefront of edge computing solutions. But that comes with some challenges, right? Scaling challenges, etc. Why don't you tell our viewers how AtlasEdge is addressing those computing challenges?
Yeah, thank you for that, Dean. AtlasEdge is a company where we're operating a pan-European data center company across Europe.
Mm-hmm.
Where we see the growth coming is not in the traditional marketplaces of the flat D infrastructure, Frankfurt, London, Amsterdam, Paris. But what AtlasEdge is focusing on is the next level of regional cities, building the data centers in places like Lisbon, Vienna, in the DACH region with places like Hamburg, Berlin, Stuttgart, where we're seeing a lot of demand in there, and building that infrastructure in underserved markets to be able to support both enterprises and hyperscalers, put their compute power where customers need it and be localized to them.
So it sounds like AtlasEdge kind of has its finger on kind of the pulse of some of the trends and what works best and going where you're needed most.
Absolutely.
Let's talk a little bit about those trends. You know, what are you seeing as far as the computing trends?
We're seeing the hyperscalers serve more companies, both public and enterprise sector, in those regional marketplaces. That's been driven by GDPR, latency, and just a lack of availability of power in those bigger locations. The second thing is that we see from an enterprise perspective, we still see a lot of on-prem to off-prem being done, especially post-COVID, with people closing buildings that they don't need as those leases come up. And also we're seeing that companies look in the enterprise world, making sure they have the right mix of public and private computing to allow them to have hybrid infrastructure, a little bit of cloud repatriation, but trying to right-size their infrastructure. They also want that private infrastructure localized to them so they can service and support that. Yeah, and again, with GDPR, with the latency, being able to provide those hyper areas. We're also seeing, especially in somewhere like Lisbon, the new subsea cables like to Africa coming in there, bringing that connectivity and internet traffic from the western side of Africa and from South America, and seeing that really being a new hub point, a bit like Marseille has been, coming up as a really exciting marketplace for the data center and telecommunications industry, serving that Africa business.
So lots going on the business side for AtlasEdge. Let's talk about the impact of what that business is. You can't do a JSA TV without us talking a bit about sustainability and a couple of other things, AI, but we're going to get there. But why don't you tell us a little bit about some of the things that AtlasEdge is doing as kind of a conscientious player in the industry with regard to sustainability?
Well, first of all, we all recognize that green and the environment and corporate and social responsibility, is really important to everybody. So we already use 100% green energy on all our data centers. What we're also seeing in Europe, maybe not in some of the other marketplaces, is lots of legislation coming. So by 2030, all data centers in Europe have to operate at a PUE of less than 1.2. So all of our designs now are basically making sure that PUE is below 1.2. And also the existing data centers, we're doing a lot of infrastructure upgrades so we can drive those efficiencies. And anything that we can do to help that in terms of whether it's just simple things like lighting in the data centers, replacing all the old equipment. But we need as an industry, and we've got a little reputation of using lots and lots of electricity. And
a little bit of a reputation, right?
And we need to show, obviously, for the protecting the world and for our future, my daughter, etc.
And mine, yes.
Yeah, it's making sure that we're doing this in the right way. So we're fully on it. We've got a lot of legislation to do, which is helping drive Europe and drive the data center marketplaces there. but we have to do it, and it is the future of the planet.
I love it. And we cannot talk about sustainability, and we cannot talk about the challenges around sustainability without talking about the challenges of AI application deployment, and the challenges it creates with regard to sustainability. So let's talk a little bit about AtlasEdge's AI initiatives, and how that plays into your sustainability.
Well, in Europe, what we're seeing is really two trends. First of all, the training AI is tending to go into the Nordics region, or into the Iberian Peninsula because of the cost of energy. Yeah, in Norway, Sweden, etc., it's cheap because they've got a lot of renewable energy in there through hydro, or in the Iberian Peninsula, they've got a lot of sunshine. Yeah, so they tend to be cheap at the moment. So what we're seeing is the training deployments in Europe typically being in those countries. However, as training moves into inferencing, we're seeing that inferencing then come into the regions. And that's being driven really by GDPR to ensure that those AI inferencing are in those localized countries. So we're now starting to see the demand driven by in Germany and the UK for those regionalized AI inferencing happening. It is a challenge for the data center marketplace because for the last 20 years, we've built the data centers around air cooling and low density racks. And the demand we're seeing these days, driven by the need for GPUs, is making sure that our data centers can support low density air, high density air, and liquid cooling. And with a 2.5-year cycle to go from starting a data center to actually making it operational, then that's a challenge for everybody. But here at AtlasEdge, we have plans for our existing sites to be able to support that liquid cooling. And the sites that we're building in Lisbon and Vienna and in Germany, they're all being designed to be able to support both air-cooled and liquid-cooled as custom demand drives that infrastructure. But it's an exciting area, AI, and again, I'm sure we'll see more regulation coming into that to make sure it's used in positively for everybody moving forward.
Paul, I know you have a busy schedule. I feel like I could probably speak to you for the rest of the day. Unfortunately, neither one of us have that kind of time. But so thank you very much for being with us on JSA TV. We appreciate you being here.
Thoroughly enjoyed it, Dean, and have a great rest of the time here at the conference.
You do the same. Thanks, Paul.
Thank you.
And thank you, viewers, for watching JSA TV. We'll see you soon.